Hey guys, day 9 of the Sean Combs trial. How many people in the world do you think Googled Molotov cocktail today? So that's basically what Sean Combs allegedly threw in Kid Cudi's car leading to the explosion. So it's basically a bottle, I'd say like a wine bottle. You put a rag in it, you fill it with gas, something that's going to explode, and you chuck it somewhere after you light it. It looks like they like tore open the top of his car. It looked like maybe it was a convertible Porsche, pretty nice. And they just like threw it in there and then kind of exploded the car, but it looked like the car kind of burned. But it was, I don't know if it was a total loss. I don't know. Maybe we call the insurance company. Sounds like the LAPD didn't really follow up on it and nothing came of it. Although the defense mentioned that there was female DNA found. Okay, I'm sure on Kid Cudi's car there's a lot of female DNA. So that seems ridiculous, but they were kind of trying to pin it on saying that maybe Cassie did it. So again, they want doubt. They want the jury to feel any kind of doubt because unless all 12 jurors make it through and agree, then this isn't going anywhere. Then it would be a mistrial, which oh lordy, I don't know if anyone can be subjected to this. Any more jurors, if we had another trial, can be subjected to this like violent porn, basically, is what they're having to watch. Like, this is the most disgusting, sexually disturbed man. One of the most, and I've like met men who are fascinated with pee pee and poo poo and porta potties. And this guy, anyway, so they did have the hotel manager testify, and he had like a file of a sort because there was this one hotel that Sean Combs frequented for these freak offs. This is also just fucking weird. But, anyways, they like knew anytime he came that somebody had to go up and down the hall with the air freshener. What did this smell like? That Diddy liked the room to stay at 75 degrees. So can you imagine a slippery, slimy 75-degree baby oil room? He would light candles. Sounds like it really pissed them off because he would ruin things all the time with candle wax. Anytime the room was booked for him under a various name, AKAs, Frank, whatever, they would make him pay another $1,000 as a deposit to cover the damage that they knew was coming. What a nasty fuck. So, anyways, I mean, the air freshener, like, what did it smell like? Oh, and then they couldn't use the room for like a solid day afterwards because of all the cleanup. Okay, so the day started off with George Kaplan, and he continued his testimony that he witnessed assaults, and he was really, really terrified of Sean Combs. He was very disturbed by one assault against Cassie that he talked a little bit about, in which she was like on the ground, holding her legs up, trying to stop Sean Combs from beating her, and she screamed, is anybody seeing this? And, so that tells us multiple people were in the room. No one did anything and no one helped her while this guy just flailed on her. This is insane to me. I don't care enough about my career to let somebody be pummeled in front of me. This is insane. And he even said like he cared about his career, that there was no threat to his life, which that's probably BS because I think everyone was terrified that they were going to be offed. Maybe they still will be. I don't know. But anyway, so the defense was really, trying to go after him. Like, you worked for Diddy and then you kept in touch with him and you still tried to be his friend, blah, blah, blah. So you weren't really that scared of him. No, I mean, everybody was sucking on the Tootsie and just wanting more. I mean, you can't prove that that means it's like a consensual, uh, even friendship. So Kid Cudi gets there and he gets out of the black SUV and he's smoking a cigarette. Like, he's just like his shit don't stink. I just wonder, like, cigarettes make me anxious. I've tried it twice, so I wonder if it like I don't know, maybe it counteracts his anxiety. He talked about how he was dating Cassie, and at one point, she seemed very scared because Sean Combs had figured out that they were dating, and that's when they seemed very aware that Sean Combs and his buddies. This is gangster. snuck into his home. The door was not locked, so we're not calling it a break-in, says the defense, just trespassing. Opened his Christmas presents from Chanel. How dare you? And locked the dog in the bathroom. Now, this is very disturbing for me. The dog showed signs of emotional distress after this incident and ongoing. Don't fuck with this dog. Like, I can't believe you did this. Chanel Christmas presents and a fucking dog. What a horrible man. I've had patients, psychopathic patients, that really abuse animals starting as early as like 3 or 5 years old. So I think we're on to something with Sean Combs' childhood. Uh, okay, so that poor dog. He has to deal with jitteriness, and he's on edge now after this incident. Anyway, so they broke up. Probably obviously why, but then that's when that Molotov cocktail was thrown in his car. And yes, today probably a million people Googled what the hell that was. But then at some point he goes back and he meets Sean Combs at a restaurant, and he describes, and this is just all over the internet, he describes Sean Combs as just staring out a window with his hands behind his back, looking like he's from a Marvel's movie, like he's a Marvel's supervillain. Who do these people think they are? I like you sing songs, you sing and dance. Sean Combs, you sing and dance. That's your job. Okay. Um, and also, like, you guys sing about, you make rap songs about the shit you've done, and then you get in trouble for it later, like your son rapping about how they got the wrong house. I can't. So, anyways, he knew he was violent, and he didn't want Cassie to get hurt, and he didn't want to get hurt. And so after all that, he kind of gave up on it. But he did run into Sean Combs later, and they made a point of saying that Sean Combs vaguely apologized for what he had done. Now, it was not explicit that he blew up the car, but it was insinuated. And so, jury, I know you're watching. Keep an eye on that one. That's pretty bad, actually. Actually, that could be the arson charge, right? We need to also prove arson because that was in the indictment. And arson also goes along with the possible unaliving of others, because you don't know if that fire or that explosion is going to harm individuals. You don't know if anyone's in the car. You don't know if anyone's in the home, if it's going to catch on and somebody else is going to be harmed. So the loss of life makes that a very serious felony, and just stupid, so stupid. Mila Morales, I can't say her name because she DM'd me a bunch of hate threats, basically said that she was like around Cassie, that she saw the abuse, and at one point she had to like really clean her up. She brought her back to her house. She describes it as terrifying, which I 100% believe her, but she didn't take Cassie to the hospital. She didn't make a police report. She had a friend doctor, who maybe it's the same doctor who's prescribing all these random pills we're seeing, come over and just check on her to make sure she didn't have a concussion. It sounds like Cassie needed a brain scan or a head scan after that, but she didn't get that. So what's interesting is that they asked Mila, have you done TV shows and stuff? And she said done a couple. And then they mentioned like 5 or 6 shows. Now, in particular, what stood out to me is that she did Pierce Morgan, the guy, the British guy who really doesn't have any ethics. She did his show, and in it, she praised Sean Combs. Now, this was only like 6 months ago. This was after the indictment. This was after this had all come out. She was in cahoots with the feds. She was asking the feds if she could do these shows because she turned down one show at the end that she didn't do because the feds didn't want her to. So she's praising him to Pierce Morgan. And Pierce Morgan, of course, because he's a sensationalized nasty fuck himself, kind of cornered her and was like, okay, well, you didn't do anything when Cassie was pummeled that day. And she was like, yeah, no, we were all absolutely terrified of him. Really? Because you just spent like I don't know, 6 minutes talking about your praise for him, and he started your career, and you are where you are because of him, and he's an artist, and he's a perfectionist, and he's perfect, and everything he does is fucking wonderful. So, anyways, I think having her on was a huge mistake because all she did was open up contradictions and doubt for the jury to see. So we had the computer forensics expert from Homeland Security come on, and he basically said that one of the laptops, they tried to do a factory reset, but he was able to restore it. And so maybe on Tuesday we will be able to see or hear what he found on that laptop. It sounds like there were 3 laptops, and 2 others were he wasn't able to get anything off, but we have one with the profile of Frank Black and then guest. And so we haven't really figured out what is within there. They ended early. I think the judge is really funny, always suggesting that people like go for a walk and go for a walk and watch sports, basically. He didn't explicitly say don't go on social media. So again, have a good weekend, jury, and get ready for Tuesday. I'm glad everyone gets a break because everyone looks completely freaking exhausted.